Is she done chasing?
Yeah.
She's done chasing. I think you both were having fun. I'm not sure which one of you was having more fun. Oh, she's over it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday. Alex and Haley are going to be back in, about 30 minutes or so?
Yeah.
So we're getting the stuff out of here. You get to go live in your house now. That's exciting.
We do.
We don't have a Leica.
No, we don't have a Leica.
But we do have a Kepler.
We do have Kepler.
They're different, but they're sometimes not all that different. Leica's sometimes very cat-like. This was probably not the best thing.
No.
Oh, now she wants to run again.
No, she's thirsty.
I'm thirsty. Just watching y'all. Also, welcome to December. We have made it to the very last month of the year. It's been a fast year, but also there's been parts of the year that have definitely stalled or felt longer. So sometimes at the end of a year, I'm like, it was the fastest year ever. I don't know it was the fastest year ever, but it was a moderately, it moved at a moderate speed. How about that? I'm sure they're already scrolling at this point, but thank you to our Patreon producers since it is the beginning of the month. You can learn more at supportsteven.com, and both Mel and I sincerely appreciate it. So today, there's like things to do, but I have been playing Advance Wars 2 for like a long time. I don't even remember when it was that I made the video about like finishing Advance Wars, but I've been playing Advance Wars 2 now for a while, and there's days I don't play it, but I've been, slowly working through it. And today, finally, I finished the last mission 34. So I played through all 34 missions. I S-ranked all of them. And I have a few little thoughts. I don't want to talk about this a ton today because, I think I'm planning to play through the challenge mode. But having played through Advance Wars 2 and S-ranking all the missions, it's a fun game. It's a notable... I think it's a notable improvement over Advance Wars 1. I think the big thing that is different is that, and I don't know how to put this into words exactly, Advance Wars 2 feels a little, industrial, or I can't think of exactly how to describe this, but because so much of the game has to do with there's these big cannons you have to destroy, and you have to go out of your way to destroy these big cannons, and you have to there will be like this one set piece that you have to deal with in the final mission. There's this big satellite thing that shoots lasers. It feels different than the first game, because the first game, for the most part, all the missions kind of feel like you're up against another army. This is my army and I'm fighting this other army and we're going to fight. And in the second game, that happens, but also there's a lot of you're up against this army, but this army controls this giant thing. So you spend a lot of the game destroying giant things. And I don't think that that's bad, but it happens a lot. And there's something I prefer about Advance Wars 1. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, where everyone is like, okay, well, Donkey Kong Country 2 is the better game. And it's on paper, you're like, well, yeah, it's definitely the better game. And then sometimes you're playing Donkey Kong Country 1 and you're like, there's a particular something about this game that I sometimes like more than Donkey Kong Country 2. I kind of feel like that with Advance Wars. Advance Wars 2 is a better game in the sense that there's more stuff, there's more powers, there's more units, there's the story is much more complex and talks a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit about the repercussions of war, because in the first game they're just kind of haha, war, And in the second game, they're like, haha, war. Sometimes people die. Anyway, haha, war. So like there's it's a better game on paper, but also there's times where I'm like, man, Advance Wars 1. If you're gonna play one game, I would say play Advance Wars 1. Also, when you're playing Advance Wars 1, play as Max. Because Max is overpowered as hell in Advance Wars 1. They really nerfed him in Advance Wars 2, which they needed to because he was too strong. But yeah. Anyway, I've enjoyed playing it. I told Thomas that I had played Advance Wars 1 and then played it again and S ranked it and then played it again in challenge mode and then have just finished doing S ranking all the missions in Advance Wars 2. And he's like, there are other video games. There's other video games in the world. They're not all Advance Wars. And I was like, I know. He's like, how can you stand to play the same game over and over? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I was like, I think it's because there's just enough variance in like going from game 1 to game 2 and doing normal mode versus, challenge mode, that it just retains its funness for me. But yeah, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, what game was I going to put more time into than anything else, I would not have answered Advance Wars series. I would not. It's been fun to revisit it. Originally I was like, when I finish 2, I'll play whatever it is, Dual Strike, the third one. And now I'm like, actually, I don't think I will. I think I am still going to do challenge mode for Advance Wars 2. And I might get burned out halfway through and just stop. And if I do, then that's fine. But I don't think I'm going to move on to Dual Strike. I think I have put so much time into this one game series that I'll be done after that. But has it been really nice to play a game for leisure? Yeah, it has. I like that I can pick it up and play it and then put it down. Some of the missions in Advance Wars 2 are really, really long. And I don't love that because it's easiest if you play it all in one sitting. And you can't really do that for some of those missions because some of those missions are like 2 hours long. And I don't want to sit there and play that for 2 hours. Like usually I'm playing like a little bit before bed, or sometimes if I go to the bathroom, I'll play. But I'm not going to play 2 hours. And if you play all at once, then you kind of remember what you were doing and what your plan was. And if you break it up, it gets a little harder. But it's still a fun game. Still a fun game. I don't know what challenge mode will be like, but I'll probably work through that and then talk more about it. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, because again, and I mentioned this whenever I played through Advance Wars 1 and talked about that, was that there's some folks online that have talked about like bugs and stuff. And in Advance Wars 2, things I ran into, the game crashed once right after someone used a CO power. And then there was another time in another mission where there was like, maybe it was a CO power or something happened. And then whenever it was done, there was no HUD. Like the game was still going and I could control things, but there was like no on-screen UI. And I was like, that makes this game impossible to play. So I quit the software and restarted it and it was fine. But yeah, those two oddities. And again, still a 1.0 release. There are things that they should probably fix. Still a 1.0 release. Maybe there will be an update for it someday. Maybe when we get the Switch successor, they'll be like, okay, you can have an update. We'll see. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today. December, despite the fact that the holidays are coming, should actually be the chillest month I have had possibly all year. If you go back and you look at the vlogs, there have been guests here almost every single month of the year. Almost every single month. And I love having guests, but it does make it difficult, especially in months where we have more than one guest. Where there's months where Mao's been out of town and then there's been a guest. So it's been a lot. And as far as I know right this second, I don't think we're planning to have anyone else here for the rest of the year. Maybe like right at the end of the year. But for the majority of December, I get to just focus on work, which is good, and try to focus on sleep too. My sleep's just been real weird lately. I've recovered from Extra Life, but Kep's been very needy in the night or something. He's been waking me up a little more than he used to, and I'm adapting the best I can, but it's certainly not easy. Okay, thanks for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?